Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're zeroing in on something you probably see every single day, promotional products.
Yeah, you almost certainly have some lying around the house or office.
Exactly. We've got some great insights here from an article by Cubic Promote Australia, and also a little new note to help us, get a handle on this world, both here in Australia and internationally.
And our goal, really, is to sort of cut through the noise, give you the essential picture of what these things are.
Right.
We'll look at, the basics, what are they, but also their history, which is probably deeper than you'd expect.
Mm-hmm.
How they actually build brand awareness, common examples, how the branding gets on them, and, well, why they work, why they're still around.
And when's the best time to use them?
Yeah.
For you listening, you want to get up to speed on something quickly, right, without getting totally bogged down in jargon.
Yeah.
So we've done the legwork to bring you a hopefully really interesting look at this marketing workhorse. Okay, so let's kick things off. What exactly are we talking about? Promotional products.
Well, basically, they're items, right? Custom branded items. Things companies give out with their name or logo or maybe a message on them.
Like the classic pen you grab at a conference, yeah.
That's a perfect example. Or maybe one of those reusable shopping bags you get from a store.
Oh yeah, I got loads of those.
Yeah,
Or sometimes something a bit fancier, like a gift.
precisely. And the point is, they kind of weave a brand into everyday life, which is, well, pretty powerful for recognition.
It helps people remember the brand.
Yeah, builds recognition, maybe attracts new customers, sparks a bit of engagement, sometimes in ways that, a quick online ad just can't.
It's funny, isn't it? These ordinary things become like little brand ambassadors. I've heard them called different things too.
You have branded merchandise is common, or company swag.
Swag, yeah.
Marketing giveaways, too. Lots of names, but the idea is the same.
What really jumped out at me from the Cubic Promote piece was how long they stick around. They said, 89% of people remember the brand on a promo item they got in the last 2 years?
That's a huge number.
It feels much stronger than just seeing an ad flash past online.
It really does speak volumes, doesn't it? It shows how tangible they are, how lasting. Unlike that digital ad you might just scroll past or click away from.
Right.
A useful promo item, well, it hangs around. Gives you that repeated exposure to the brand.
So you see them a lot at places like trade shows.
Definitely. Trade shows maybe as rewards for staff or, just a nice little perk for customers.
So they're not just junk that gets thrown out. People actually value them if they're useful. Okay, let's step back a bit. It feels quite modern, this kind of marketing, but the history goes back further, right?
It really does, way further. The earliest example people usually point to is, believe it or not, 1789, George Washington's inauguration.
No way. Buttons.
Commemorative buttons, yeah. Using a branded item for a political campaign, that kind of set the stage.
Wow. Okay, that's much earlier than I thought. And then there was a printer, Jasper Meek, in 1886.
That's right. Jasper Meek, he's often credited with really bringing it into the commercial world. He started putting branding on burlap bags for a local shoe store.
Ah, okay. So the bags people used to carry their shoes home in.
Exactly. Suddenly, those bags weren't just bags, they were moving adverts.
That's clever. Turning
Yeah.
something functional into marketing. And it seems like things really picked up pace around the mid-20th century.
Yeah, the 1940s, that's when you start seeing things like branded pens, calendars becoming, standard office stuff. They were really cementing their place.
Right.
And then looking at Australia specifically, the 1980s saw a big surge. Trade shows got bigger. Corporate gifting took off. Think stubby holders.
Ah, the stubby older. Can't get more Aussies than that.
Yeah.
The article also mentioned technology changing things, too.
Oh, absolutely. Screen printing came along, allowing for, bolder, more complex designs on fabrics.
Right.
Then more recently, digital printing offers even more customization. And now there's a big push towards sustainable materials, too, which makes sense.
Yeah, reflects wider concerns. Interesting how it's adapted. And what about the size of this industry now? Globally, it must be pretty big business.
It's massive. For 2024, the estimate is around 26.5 billion US dollars worldwide. That's according to Cognitive Market Research.
Wow, 26.5 billion. And our new note just flat out said, all this is the same for Australia and overseas. So it really is a global thing.
It is. The basic principles work everywhere. I mean, obviously you need to think about cultural differences, what items make sense where, but the core idea, pretty universal. Melbourne or Munich, it works.
Okay, so we know what they are, where they came from. How do they actually boost brand awareness? It's got to be more than just, slapping a logo on a mug and hope it, right.
Definitely more to it than that. The real power is putting your brand somewhere visible, somewhere it becomes part of someone's daily routine.
Like that mug on the desk you mentioned.
Exactly. Or the tote bag they take shopping. Every time it's seen by the person using it, by others around them, that's an impression. It's brand exposure.
And those impressions add up, don't they? The article had some stats on that.
It did. PPAI data suggests a single item can get something like 3,000 views over its lifetime.
3,000 views from one pen. That's a lot.
It is. And remember that other stat, 76% of people recalling the brand on a promo product they own. That shows a much stronger memory link than, say, TV ads.
The Qantas examples were good illustrations. Luggage tags linking Qantas with travel in your mind.
Or caps at a marathon. Suddenly their logo is everywhere.
Yeah, very visible.
So they work well in lots of places. Trade shows, like we said, but also just sitting on a retail counter. It's all about subtly reinforcing that brand connection. And importantly, it's pretty cost-effective.
Right, the cost. That's key point. Maybe not the first thing you think of, but compared to other marketing.
Yeah, we'll dig into the costs a bit more, but getting potentially thousands of views from one relatively inexpensive item, that's a big plus.
Okay, picture's getting clearer. Now, the products themselves, what are the really popular ones? The range must be huge.
Oh, it's vast. Pretty much any consumer item could potentially be branded, right? But yeah, based on sales data, like from Keep It Promote in Australia, you definitely see patterns. Practical stuff tends to win out.
Okay, hit me with the top 10. What are people actually getting and using?
All right, the top 10 in Australia, according to their data, are pens, notebooks, umbrellas, water bottles, mugs.
Standard stuff so far.
Then t-shirts, polo shirts, caps, and tote bags. Oh, wait, did I miss one? Pens, notebooks, umbrellas, water bottles, mugs, tees, polos, caps, tote bags. Let me recheck that list from the outline. Oh, yes, there were 9 listed, not 10. My mistake. Pens, notebooks, umbrellas, water bottles, mugs, t-shirts, polo shirts, caps, and tote bags.
Okay, solid mix. Things for the office, things for out and about. It's interesting pens are still so high up there, in such a digital age.
Well, they're just universally useful, aren't they? Everyone needs a pen sometimes. They're cheap to produce, easy to distribute, just a safe bet.
Yeah, true. And looking at the Keep It Promote site, I mean, the list goes on and on. Tech, gadgets, suites, tools, pretty much anything.
Exactly. Whatever fits your brand and your audience.
So you've picked your product. Now getting the brand on it, that's crucial. How's that done?
Well, it really depends on the item. What it's made of, what kind of look you're going for. Different techniques suit different things.
Okay, the article mentioned a few main ones. Screen printing first. When's that used?
Screen printing is great for bold colors, big designs, especially on fabric. So t-shirts, bags, it's good for bulk orders, quite cost effective.
Right, so for event tees, that's probably your go-to. What about embroidery? That feels a bit more premium.
It often is, yeah. Embroidery gives you that stitched, durable finish, looks great on things like caps, polo shirts, adds a bit of perceived value, lasts a long time too.
Makes sense for like corporate wear or nicer gifts. Then laser engraving. Sounds high-tech.
It is pretty precise. Uses a laser to etch the design onto a surface. Works really well on metal pens, USB drives, that kind of thing. Gives a very sharp, permanent, professional look.
Sleek. Okay. And the last one was debossing. I'm less familiar with that one.
Debossing is where the design is pressed into the material. So you get this subtle, indented feel, like on leather or maybe bamboo items.
Oh, so it's pressed in, not raised up.
Yep.
Got it.
Exactly. It's more understated. It can feel quite elegant.
So different methods for different looks and materials.
Yeah.
And there was some advice about the logo design itself, wasn't there?
Yeah, really important tip. Keep it clear and simple.
Mm-hmm.
Especially on smaller items, a fussy logo just gets lost.
Right.
And think about placement. You want it visible, but not, obnoxious. Front of a mug, side of a bag somewhere, it'll be seen easily.
Simple, clear, well-placed. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, we've touched on why they work, but let's really nail this down. Why should businesses use these things? What's the core appeal?
Well, it boils down to a few key things, really. They boost your visibility because people see them repeatedly. They engage people with something practical, tangible. They're generally very cost-effective, as we mentioned. And they create a lasting impression.
That repeated exposure thing seems key. It's not just one glance at an ad.
Exactly. Every time someone grabs that branded pen or uses that water bottle or carries that bag, They see the brand, and maybe others see it too. It just keeps reinforcing it.
Imagine getting something really cool related to your hobby, perhaps. That'd stick with you more than a generic pen.
Oh, absolutely. That personal connection or just the novelty can make a huge difference in how memorable it is.
And the stats back this up, right? Let's revisit those numbers quickly.
Yeah, definitely. So that 89% recall within 2 years from PPAI in 2019, that's huge for visibility.
Massive recall.
And the same study, 76% keep the products because they're useful. That usefulness is why they stick around.
Utility equals longevity
Okay.
and the cost.
Right. The ASI study from 2020 put the cost per impression at just 0.004, less than half a cent.
Wow. Compared to online ads at Cameo, what was it?
Around 0.002 cents per impression. So promotional products are significantly cheaper for the exposure you get.
That's a massive difference. And they last longer, creating more impressions over time.
Exactly. ASI figured between 500 and 2,000 impressions over the item's life. Think how quickly a billboard's impact fades compared to that.
Good point. And it's not just about seeing the logo. It can actually make people feel better about the company.
Seems so. That Baylor University research from 2016 found people felt about 20% more positive towards a company after getting a promotional gift.
Huh. So it can boost loyalty, too.
Yeah, helps build that relationship. So, summing up, you've got recall, loyalty, affordability, and versatility. It's a strong mix.
It really is a tangible way to connect.
Definitely.
Okay, so they work, but when should businesses use them? You can't just hand them out constantly, can you? It needs to be strategic.
Right, timing and context are key. You want maximum impact. There are definitely some prime time.
Trade shows came up again in the article. Seems like a no-brainer.
Classic example. Great for breaking the ice, giving people something physical to take away, remember you by. Practical things like notebooks, pens, always winners there.
Makes sense. What about launching a new product?
Another perfect time. Giving out relevant swag can build buzz. Like if you're launching an app, maybe give away branded phone grips.
Ah, something connected to the product itself. Clever.
Exactly. Enhances the experience.
And what about internally? For staff?
Oh yeah, branded gear for the team is great for morale, building that sense of unity. T-shirts, polos, sure, but maybe nicer gifts too for recognition.
Shows appreciation and loyalty programs.
Yes, definitely. Using exclusive branded items as rewards in a loyalty program that can really keep customers engaged, make them feel valued, encourage them to stick with you.
Good incentive. The article's best spots list basically repeated those.
Yeah.
Trade shows, staff gear, loyalty programs, and events like launches really hammers home those key moments.
It does. And the advice that came with it, use them strategically, tie them into contests, make sure you have enough stock, plan them as part of your marketing. That's all crucial stuff.
So be thoughtful, be targeted. Don't just throw them around randomly.
Precisely. Choose wisely, place them well, and they can be a really valuable part of your marketing mix.
Well, this has been really insightful, a proper deep dive. It's clear they're much more than just cheap freebies.
Absolutely. They're a tried and tested marketing tool, effective here in Australia, effective globally, been around a long time for a reason.
Yeah, that mix of being genuinely useful so people keep them and providing that constant low-level brand exposure is quite unique.
And add in the cost effectiveness, the versatility. You can see why businesses still rely on them to connect with customers, reward their teams.
Definitely. Okay, so final thought for you, our listener, to mull over. And just take a look around you right now. What everyday things do you use? How could a simple logo on one of them subtly change how you feel about or remember a company? And maybe flip that, what's something you use all the time, something maybe overlook, that could actually be a surprisingly powerful little piece of branding if done right. Definitely food for thought. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.